Evoke. Give you a moment to make sure you're all sitting comfortably. Got your cup of tea or coffee or a stronger beverage. Mint tea, still quite hot. Drop your comments in on the side. Let me know how you're watching. We're on YouTube tonight because YouTube, I think, are happy to discuss this issue. Bradley, great to see you on YouTube. Let me pull in some other comments. I think Elizabeth is in the green room, but I'll pull you in a few minutes. Elizabeth, I can see you there. Busy day, a good day. It's nice to actually talk about good things for once. Let me know how my mic is. My mods can let me know if all the mic is good. Let me pull up on Getter. Am I not live on Getter yet? I am live on Getter. Drop your comments in on the side. We'll pull in the comments from Getter, we'll pull in the comments from YouTube, and I don't know where else. I don't think you pulled them in a Rumble yet. But anyway, I digress. Great to have you with us. Let me know how you're watching, where you're watching. This is a British story. Jess says, evening, sound is good, Peter. Thank you, Jessie. Anyone else can jump in. This is a British story. So for those of you across the pond, you will not believe what we're going to discuss. We've discussed grooming gangs in detail, in depth before. This is a good news story, but today is a day that shouldn't actually have to happen. It should be automatic. Let me just stick my phone down, or it's going to bleep all evening. So I think today has opened the way for what is possible moving forward. I'm going to have to put my phone in airplane mode, sorry. Let me stick it on airplane mode. And I want to have your comments. Hi, Tommy AU, Eden Free People. Let me jump over on together, and then I will bring you in, Elizabeth. Give me one moment. Well, I got no. Come on. Where's the comments on Getter? It's gone a bit funny. Let me know on Getter how you're watching, where you're watching. Always good to find out who you, the audience, are. But I don't get to see you until we do Hearts of Oak Live. Hearts of Oak Live. Which I always enjoy Lotus Eaters Live, so I think we should probably do a Hearts of Oak Live sometime soon, now that we're allowed out. But this, tonight, we're going to talk about what I've been involved in the last 2 years. Anne Turner, evening, Peter. Good evening, Anne. And all of you watching on Rumble, on the website, heartsofoak.org/live stream, or if you're watching on Twitter, which is getting slightly better, or if you're watching on Getter, Cloud Hub, DLive, Twitch. We're trying to crack Twitch, and anywhere else. Great to have you with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Great to have the support from all over the world as we discuss so many issues. We've got some great guests coming on. Had 2 great pre-records this week, and both of them I'm so excited about because they're individuals who I have followed. One of them was a childhood hero, and you'll see him coming up soon. Another one I remember when she ran in 2011 for the Republican candidates for president. Absolutely wonderful to have her and speak to her. Archer Cullen, evening, folks. Simon Ferret, you on Rumble? Or just got Rumble? Good. Well, you can use it more often. So let me jump over on to Julie X. Hi on Getter. Trevor0707. Hello, Peter. Chris Davis 33, Accrington. Chris, you're not first. What's happening? How are you not first? Were you getting your cup of tea? Pam's Het. Evening, Peter. Trevor0707 from a S-hole called Bradford. We wouldn't possibly want to swear in this show. Eleanor Mack, my own dear mother. Hi, Peter. So pleased for Elizabeth. Well done, Hearts of Oak. Couldn't have said it better myself, Mum. Thank you. Right, let's pull in Elizabeth. Let's see if this works. Elizabeth, hello.
Hello?
Hello. Hold on, hear you. We,
2 seconds.
that's okay.
Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You're gonna have to excuse me as well if my voice goes, because all I've done is talk all day.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I've talked today quite a few times. Um, First of all, Elizabeth, can I say that it has been an absolute pleasure to get to know you. I didn't know you 2 years ago before this started, and it has been great to get to meet you on numerous occasions and to talk to you so often about this case and to actually feel as though I've been working with you, partnering with you, getting this to completion. So it's been a wonderful 2 years. Can you maybe let us know? It's been a interesting road the last 2 years. Did you think that you would come to this point where the judge has awarded large damages for you against your perpetrator? Did you think this day would come?
I think in the early days when it all started in discussion, I actually thought, well, I don't actually. It looked good on paper, but usually, as people will know, good ideas don't usually ever pan out right in Rotherham, or for any other survivors really. Um, there has been times where I thought we've lost this. We're not. It's not moving anywhere. And then to be getting the judgment last week saying that I'd been awarded that has basically just blown it out of the water, really.
Um,
And just goes to show that anything's possible.
It does. And I mean, it's a crazy situation we have in the UK. If I can just talk about the issue and then on to you personally, but it's a crazy situation that this does not happen automatically, because you think if someone goes away for that, then you would think the British legal system would automatically kind of freeze their assets, and then the individuals, victims, the survivors would automatically get that. But we both learned that's not the case.
No, no, and I think that's the next chapter of this journey, to be honest, is the fact that it should be mandatory, it should be in disclosures, it should be part of the criminal proceedings.
Um, Tell us how. Obviously, the ruling came out a few days ago, and we had to keep it under wraps. Was that difficult to keep quiet about it until GB News broke the story today?
Well, to be fair, Peter, you know me and my big mouth, so yeah, it has been, to be honest. So, yeah, we have. It's been very difficult.
Um, tell us about GB News, because I got to meet Charlie on when we did some filming on Friday, and it's wonderful to have I guess, a media outlet, a broadcaster that actually wants to highlight this injustice. I mean, tell us your experiences with GB News and Charlie.
Well, I met Charlie, God, beginning of last year, when he started initially working on the documentary that he was bringing out. I fastly, well, it was quite fast. I realised that he was really genuine and he was passionate about that subject. And from then on, he's done some amazing work. It's very rare that you find a journalist.
Yeah. You've obviously had negative experiences with journalists as well.
Yeah,
Um, that I, you, I would think that journalists would be very interested in the story overall, but I think we both found that journalists aren't always willing to write about this and publicize the injustice.
no, no, definitely. Um, it's just, I've always in another interview that child sexual exploitation is the only form of abuse that we still have to take a year, and that could span to a 20, 30 year time gap, really. We still always getting the blame put on us.
Do you want to let us know what today means for you, because you have said it's not about the money, it's about justice. But tell us what this means and what you kind of hope today means for others.
Today, first, I'm going to say that it wouldn't have been for the likes of Tilbrook, Robin, and all the funders. I'll be forever grateful for that, for giving me a own kind of justice, what was satisfactory. And I hope that it opens the gate flood, because that's one of the main reasons that I did it. Because the criminal system, the court system, everything, it's for the criminals. And lastly, I hope, so I've campaigned on absolutely everything. I've gone around the country training for judges, police officers, foster carers, tried to take on the council, tried to take on and I've never got anywhere to take children that way. And by doing this, I hope that it's out that if you're going to abuse children, if you're going to commit these crimes against children, to these children, that Ashgar could be you.
Elizabeth, can I remove you and you to come back on? Your sound's a bit funny, and I won't talk to you for another 5 minutes, especially about your book. Can I remove you and for you to click back on again?
Yeah.
So let me take you off. Let's see if she comes back to better sound. Sorry about that. Let's try once more. Hello. You're back. You're back.
Oh, I can't hear you. 2 seconds.
Don't you love technology?
Hello?
Hiya.
I can hear you now.
Perfect. Elizabeth, obviously people can follow you on Snatch 1400 and the handle is there on the screen. And people can also see your book, which is at the top. Do you want to just let us know about the book? Because I think it's well worthwhile people getting a hold of that. And not only does that support you, but also they can read your story. So tell us about your book.
Well, my book outlines not only what Ashgar did, but also the woman that facilitated it. It gives you the inside of authorities in Rotherham and what they actually did. Everything's in there. I've been totally honest about how much compensation I got from South Yorkshire Police. There's my full IOPC reporting, where that's quite interesting as well. So it's got a bit of everything in it.
And people can click on that. It is on the top of your Twitter page, and they can then click through and I guess get it on Amazon and elsewhere.
Asda's stocking it, and also WH Smith's and other places like that as well.
Okay. One other name that pops up, I always want to give credit where credit is due, and Jane Senior has certainly been someone who has stood with you and supported you. Do you want to just mention kind of what Jane's role has been with you, standing side by side with you?
Yeah, I've known Jane since being a teenager. She weren't my worker, that was somebody else. But after the J report, when things got a little bit tough, because I've not always been this fortunate to be in this state. I was quite ill, mentally ill, and basically Jane has supported me through my journey to become who I am today, and she's just an absolute angel. And she does not get enough credit either for it.
She's someone who I respect for many things, but also because she's not seeking the fame or limelight, but she quietly gets on with it.
She's very humble in everything that she does, and it's such a nice thing about her. she's just so, like, she's just amazing.
Oh, she is. Elizabeth, I thank you for jumping on. I know that you've been speaking and doing lots of media, and I'm excited to see that not only the GB News piece this morning and how they've run that and taken it further. So I hope to see much more media continuing as the week goes on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and we the two of us, I'm sure, will talk tomorrow. But I will leave you now. Thank you so much for joining us, Elizabeth.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
That was Elizabeth. I really have enjoyed getting to know her. She's someone with immense courage, someone with immense strength that can what she has been through as a victim of grooming gangs and um, oh, yeah, as a victim of grooming gangs, she has been through a lot and failed by every institution, and yet she has gone through this process. Part of it has been individuals like Jane Senior who have stood with her side by side and helped her through this situation that she has faced. And remember, this is not just one or two girls. If I can just touch on the figures involved, let me remove that graphic from there and stick me up because she has gone. There you go. So the scale of this, for those our viewers abroad who maybe haven't heard of this, from the late 70s, so for over 40 years, we have had groups of, the data tells us they are Muslim background, men raping young, white, underage girls. So child rape. Often it is groups of families carrying out this and doing this. We've had the Rochdale Nine. That was a group of 9 individuals and preying on young, often young white English girls. And whether this is a cultural or religious issue, I'll set that aside. I don't want to get into that. I have extremely strong views, as you know well. And I think you can discuss and critique an ideology and background without demonizing or attacking the individuals. And certainly, whenever I've discussed Islam as an ideology, you also have Muslims as followers of that ideology. And those are two separate discussion points. So I want to make that clear. But I don't want to get in that side. I just want to get into the failings that we have seen. But across country, over 40 years, over 40 trials in 40 towns across the country, we have seen 450 individuals, more or less all men, a handful of females, charged, sentenced, and jailed for participation in rape gangs called grooming gangs in the UK. Or the government calls them child sexual exploitation, CSE, which is another term that's used. Grooming gang simply is used to, I guess, pigeonhole and categorize. And some people may say, well, why are you not interested in rape of all descriptions and all ways? I am, but there's only so much that we can do. And I've learned that if you're going to try and achieve something, then look at how you're able to process that, how you're able to manage that, and can you actually get to your end goal? There's no point in producing a lot of heat about an issue without actually ending up in a better place than where you are. And for all those who talk about all different types of rape, which you remember in the UK, I think something like 1.5% of allegations of rape actually end up in sentencing. 80 or 98.5% never get to the end. Either 98.5% of those allegations are false, or else we have a serious problem in our judicial, our legal, and our police. I'll let you make that decision, understanding for yourself. But so we have a massive problem, and we focus on this because it's an issue that is marginalized, it is not discussed. And as Sarah Champion, the MP for Rotherham, got that right, said that up to 1 million girls have been affected by this. That was in an interview with the Daily Mirror 4.5 years ago. We've seen the headlines of places like Telford, 1,400 girls, of Rotherham, Rochdale, and the list goes on. And this is highlighted as a story. I think often it's for entertainment value. I think our media had this story and talk about it simply because they want airtime, they want publicity, they want to sell papers. It's about advertising. And it's not because they actually care deeply about the story. And I think we have found that issue playing out on a separate issue, but that understanding through COVID tyranny. And we've had those newspapers supposedly on the right who would champion liberty and freedom, like the Telegraph, like the Mail, actually have been the biggest lockdown fanatics and would take away your freedom at a moment if the government so said someone's got to sneeze, it's dangerous. So we have seen that play out, that it is not about truth, but it is about publicity for our media. Now, I say that because I want to distinguish a little bit. GB News and Charlie Peters, they've done a great job highlighting this story. And actually, we were told at different media outlets, they were hungry for the story. They realized it was an important story and they wanted to bring this to the public. And I love that eagerness to bring a story, not because it's just a story and to fill your airtime, but because it is a story that highlights an injustice. And by doing that, you can shine a spotlight on that and hopefully change society. And that's certainly what I saw in GB News for all their criticism of many issues. Actually, on TV, I think they're the best we have, and they do good work in many areas. They do less good work in other areas, but let's take the good and not focus on the bad. Let me put in some comments, then let's keep going about what we want to do this, because the judicial system, there are so many issues. And I'm glad we got the sound right for Elizabeth at the end. Let me pull in some who's watching on Getter for the first time. Let me pull in. We've got Mr. British. Hello, good to have you. We had Trevor 0707 before. Drop your comments and let me know how you're watching. And if you're new, if you've just been watching very recently, or this is your first one, do say hello on the chat on the side if you're watching on Getter. And the reason we use Getter so much is Getter appeared at a time of censorship, certainly in Twitter, which is the place. Every platform is compared to Twitter. And it's done a fantastic job on growing that. Supposedly now Elon Musk is giving freedom on Twitter. I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't know if I would put all my trust with Elon Musk. But what he's doing at the moment is good. So that's why we use all different platforms, and Getter is one of those. And we have much more engagement on Getter. So thank you so much for being part of that, using that. If you use Rumble, we can't pull in Rumble comments at the moment. The Times have just done. I didn't realize the Times have just done. When did they publish that? 8 o'clock. So there you go. Jonathan Ames has published it in the Times. Rotherham grooming gang survivor awarded 425,000. Let me just bring that up because it's good to see that. I'm just wondering, do we get a mention? You always wonder. Yes, they even mention Hearts of Oak. Oh, thank you, the Times and Rupert Murdoch and whoever else is there. Let me bring that up because it is essential that the story gets out on this, that the story gets out of what has happened, of the injustice, of the failure of the British legal system in so many areas. So thank you, Tim, for pointing out that the Times have just published that. There you go. Rotherham grooming gang survivor awarded 425,000. High court order is likely to bankrupt child rapist, and we'll go into that in a moment. And you scroll down, and yeah, it's more or less what I put in the press release. No, with some more info. There's Boston, person who's been charged, convicted with rape. Baroness Cox is called. Baroness Cox is absolutely wonderful. I've had the privilege of getting to know her as I've worked in Lord Pearson's office. And Baroness Cox is the secretary of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Honour-Based Abuse. And she does so much work in this area. Yeah, and then there you go. Peter McIlvenna gets a mention. Apologies to the Times for bringing it down. And someone said to me there was a BBC article as well. I'm just seeing this as we do this because that just came out 25 minutes ago. I'll not hunt for that because I will then ignore you. And I don't want to do that. Yeah, the BBC have also, that's good. I know that Elizabeth was talking to the BBC. Rotherham grooming survivor awarded 425 after suing rapist. Okay, let me actually point out the BBC are really scummy. They really are. And I don't need to tell you that because you know that. So here's the BBC. They published this. Rotherham grooming survivor awarded 425,000 after suing rapist. Rotherham child abuse scandal. You would think, I mean, GB News had it running today. The Times have published. You'd think this would actually be in the main section, but no. This is in the, let me look in, the Sheffield and South Yorkshire edition. So it's not in the full England, actually it's the regional Sheffield and South Yorkshire. That must mean they think this is just a small regional story and doesn't have national significance. My scum, really. So that's the BBC. So why has this had to happen? Okay, well, so get this. Again, I was shocked when I understood what the situation was when I first looked into this case, along with Alan. Alan went up first and met Elizabeth, I think with Jane Senior, and there was this idea about the legal case. Where Alan and I had some conversation with Robin Tilbrook, and that's where kind of the idea came from. Robin had Paulie says, "Don't hold back, mate." I hope I would never hold back. Need to give you your money's worth. Even though you get this for free, I still give your money's worth. If you do want to donate, you can, but no, I'll not go down there. So with the conversation with Robin, Robin had this idea before about how can we use the legal system to go after these rapists and destroy them financially, not put them away in an open prison for a couple of years, but destroy them financially. I know you watching, listening would want exactly the same thing. And then we realized actually there was a cost. It would be tens of thousands of pounds for the whole legal case. And that was on the cheap. So, okay, how can we do this? Enters Lord Pearson. And Lord Pearson said, I think this is vitally important. I'm going to talk to some colleagues. So Lord Pearson and Lord Vincent were the ones who made this happen financially. Now, my question is, why does a victim of rape need to raise tens of thousands of pounds to fight a legal case against her perpetrator who has already been tried and sentenced, convicted, locked away? So the legal system has said they're guilty. They've done this on how many cases? And with Boston, it was 2 cases of rape. So he's already been found guilty by the British legal system. And he's locked away. And instead of it being an automatic situation where the girl automatically gets compensation, the perpetrator automatically has their assets frozen, and then that money is given to the victim because that's what they're entitled to legally. There are levels of compensation depending on what's the term? Not accident, but the severity of I can't think of the word. So, and rape is obviously up there, except if you're some police forces who think that's a minor crime, but that's another issue. So this should automatically be paid, but no, the British legal system, our Conservative government, our Tories, our Labour MPs, our Liberal Democrats, our Greens, the whole lot of them, I think all 650 of them, I was going to say the word scum again. I feel like Angela Rayner calling them scum. Sorry, should I not use that word? I don't know. Low life, despicable individuals. I don't know. Maybe not scum. So I remember getting annoyed when Angela Rayner did call them scum, and I have. So I apologize to every Tory MP if that's incorrect, if they are good, upstanding individuals. So how is it that under our Conservative government, under any government, that they've made it so that these girls must raise tens of thousands of pounds to actually get the money they are due, they are owed? So I think immediately we will be calling on the government to change the law so that when an individual is convicted of child rape, let's not, it's not the whole grooming gang, let's just say specifically child rape, that their assets are frozen when they're sentenced as part of the sentencing, and they are awarded the money from the court as part of the sentencing. So they're sentenced to whatever, 9 years, like Boston was, 9 years in jail. 2 cases of rape, this is the cost, this is the damage to the individual, how it affects their ability to earn money and live their life. And therefore, the court rules after sentencing that the individual is due whatever, 425, 200, 300,000. And the individual's assets are frozen, his property is sold, that money is given, and the guy's homeless. And I'm sure there are many organizations who would like to give money to these rapists. I mean, Hate Not Hope, maybe they want to, I don't know. They seem to attack and criticize those of us who want justice for grooming gang survivors. If you attack those who want justice for grooming gang survivors, then does that mean you're on the side of the rapists? So all those pro-rapey individuals, maybe they can house these rapists in their home with their children. I'll not continue down that line. But we need to see a massive change in the law for that to happen. At the moment, it is a travesty that these girls must go through the legal system and must fight for justice. Chris, I'll like Chris David 33. I'll ignore that comment. I couldn't possibly aspire to that great man. Yusul, I'm sorry, but if you rape a kid, you should be sent to God for judgment, in my opinion. I hold off on capital punishment. I don't think it's our right as individuals to take the right of someone else. I think vengeance belongs to the Lord, to God, and that's up to him. Now, I understand that the state has rights and responsibilities, and maybe there is an argument that the state should be afforded that role. I think when you take someone's life, then their life is gone and you cannot give it back. And if there's miscarriages of justice, you can't go back on that. So that's why I have an issue with that. But I get the anger, and I would find it difficult to argue strongly against it whenever it is child rapists. Thank you to the 1,500 tuning in on Getter. We get between 1,500 and 2,000 for lives on Getter. Any other questions? I'm not going to talk all night if I don't have to talk all night, because sometimes when I do these solo ones, I look down and see it's 9 o'clock and I've been talking for an hour, and you're the poor individuals have to listen. Drop your comments down the side if you're watching on Getter, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube. And I want to answer them, to pull them in. Tommy A says, leave it to me then, Pete. I've got zero issues ending pedo. Should it be legal? I get you. I do. I hold off on that. I think we should just send them down into Brut in the Outer Hebrides. That's where we send the Syrian refugees, isn't it? So we just send rapists to Brut, and they can get on with each other and do whatever they want to do, all isolated on an island windswept island on the Outer Hebrides. That's what I think we should do. And you need to make some good use of the land up there, especially as Humza Yusuf is now in charge. So from out of the frying pan into the fire, oh no, I can't. No, I did see. So I've seen some very funny jokes about it, but I don't think I can mention because we are before the watershed. Comparing Yusuf Humza Yusuf. Sorry, you know who I mean, with Sturgeon. I'd have loved to seen Kitty Hobbs get in, partially because, actually, mainly because she's not only an absolute great. Paulie, we spoke at this at Comic Con, didn't we? We did. Because Kitty is a extremely good politician, but actually she's a strong Christian. And I think we need some values in our society. And what we have seen with the grooming gangs is because we don't have values of right and wrong. And people don't know what we stand for in our society anymore. And when you remove that absolute in society, then anything goes. And I think we are seeing that collapse in our society. And what happens on the grooming gangs that no one wants to speak is, I think, exemplifies and shows and shines a light on those failings. We'll see how this proceeds. Now, I don't believe for a moment that Boston will be sending Elizabeth a check for $425,000 tomorrow. If he did, I expect it would bounce. What we do expect, and people have said, oh, she won't get a penny. Oh, the state will have to pay. These people never pay. There is a process to this. There is a method to the madness. Don't think we have gone off and just decided, let's just do a legal case and then faced issues and thought we better sort those out after. No, there's been a freezing order put in place on his assets, and he can't just sell his house. So that means we hold him, and he will have to pay this amount. If he does not have this amount, then he will have to pass over his property, and that will be sold, and then the money will be given to Elizabeth. So there are ways and means of doing this, and I'm enjoying being a debt collector. I'm enjoying being involved in taking his proceeds in, and let me repeat this, destroying him financially. There are two issues which I feel as passionate about more than most other things. It is the issue of grooming gangs and the utter stain it is on our society, on our culture, that this has been left unchecked and all of our institutions don't give a damn about it. That's the first thing. The second thing is abortion. But that is a issue which maybe we may disagree on. I'm not sure why. I think I believe in the heartbeat legislation coming out of Texas. When you check someone on the side of the road, you check their pulse. If you feel a pulse, their heart is beating, they're alive. If you don't feel a pulse, their heart isn't beating, they're dead. I think the heartbeat legislation would be good. Let's reduce abortions down to only 6 weeks, not 24 weeks. But that's a whole other issue. But those are the issues. And abortion is because I believe everyone is made in the image of God and everyone has the right to life. And we have no right to remove the life from the most vulnerable, the weakest in society. That is the unborn. That's that side. On this, who cannot be discussing a child rape? When you even hear it, when you look at some of the stories, it repulses any human being. And to think that our authorities have facilitated this, not just turned a blind eye, but facilitated. You read the reports about what happened, and you realize that there were sections of the local authority, there were sections of child services, there were sections of society, of the local councils who knew this was happening and did absolutely nothing. In fact, we have heard cases of them collaborating with those carrying out these crimes. I think one story was of someone in the police force phoning the rapist and telling them they had to give up the girl because the investigation was coming too close to them and they could be found out. Utterly perverse, so sick. And we have turned a blind eye to that. So it appalls me. The issue of child rape should sicken any human being. The problem is we don't have human beings any longer in our institutions. They've become so evil. Our politicians, our police, sections of them, local authority, child services have become so evil that they now accept this as the norm and either enjoy it or either just think, well, it's if someone wants to do it, they can do it, or just want to turn a blind eye because they're more worried about themselves than the issue. Can I say that at Heartful, we will not give a damn about what other people think, that we are passionate about what we speak about. We're passionate about this. You want to bring change in society, and we're not just going to keep quiet because you're told to keep quiet. We're not just going to keep quiet because it's a difficult issue. We're not going to keep quiet because it may have repercussions if you talk about it. We will shout it from the rooftops. And I know you watching, you listening, you're part of that. And it's only together that we can do that. So I can't express my gratitude to you enough for being part of that process and promoting what we do, talking about what we do, sharing what we do. And I see so many of your posts on social media, and you get to know some of the names that come up in the chat. And you think, that's them, that's what they're doing. So it is an honor to do what we are doing here at Hearts of Oak in this issue, especially, and supporting Elizabeth and pulling everything together. But it is an honor to have you as Hearts of Oak viewers, listeners, supporters, as a community actually working with us and being part of that. So thank you so much for that. Do make sure and sign up to our email. We send an email probably every week, probably every other week, and try and keep you posted what is happening. That's something you can pass on. So do make sure heartofoak.org/connect. You can click on that and put in your email. We use it to send you emails. We don't give it to anyone else and don't use it for anything else. And you probably get 2 emails a month if you're lucky. Any last thoughts? Let me pull up my mod team. Simon had a queue on YouTube. Should I have a look at YouTube? Let me look on YouTube. There is a question on YouTube. No way. What was the question? Let me jump over and have a look. Just talk amongst yourselves. Can I pull it up? Am I that good? Am I that quick? Possibly not. Oh, there are some comments. Well, actually, that should pull it in, shouldn't it? It should pull it in. It does pull it in. Sorry, my technical expertise obviously hit a YouTube buffer because we're not using YouTube that much. So thank you for being part of it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for sharing. And again, give us your ideas. So DM us on any social media platforms. Drop us an email, info@heartsofoak.org. Let us know your thoughts regarding guests, regarding topics, regarding issues we're covering. Call us out, critique us if we've done something that's not correct or need to be doing something that we're not doing, if there are gaps in what we're doing. Or if you know of guests and think we should have them on, then drop them in and we'll definitely have them on. As I said, we've got 2 exciting guests. I've got a pre-record with someone tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that. Really excited. I met her at an event. I heard her not only at CPAC, but an event in Miami just before that. She is phenomenal what she's done in regards to the Hunter Biden laptop. And that interview will come out as soon as I've done it with her. All good. So I think on that, my tea is getting colder. I'm sure as is yours. Okay, drop your comments. Let's see. Okay, let me know who'd you like on. Katie Hopkins, Simon Ferret. Yep, Katie. I had her on before, bumped into her at Comcast. Katie is a force of nature, a legend, and there's no one like Katie Hopkins. Absolutely love her. So we'll go back to her. Jen Roberts, Paul Lee. I don't know who. message me, give me details. Very happy to get whoever on. Anyone else? Let's finish with some feedback and suggestions then. Why should you DM us or email if you can just stick it in the chat? So much easier. Any other comment on Getter? On Getter? No. Any Getter? No. No. Any other comments? No, you have to tell me then. Tell me if you have any ideas, then drop us and we will do our very best. Oh, Bradley Mark Stein. That's an interesting thought. More on that later. Sometimes you just can't say too much. You just have to keep it in. Yes, more on that later. And on that, I will wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure and watch the GB News article. Watch the GB News article. Read the GB News article. Watch the piece by Charlie Peters, the 4-minute piece. It is there on all our social media platforms, and send it on. And yeah, make sure others are aware of what is happening. And Paul Lee, brilliant show. Paul, it's only brilliant because you joined us today. And on that, good night to you all.